I want to bring in Merrill Matthews. He's the resident scholar at the Institute for Policy Innovation, which is a research-based public policy think tank. Well, it seems like another day, another tariff, or at least the threat of one. What's the end game here when it comes to this administration? Where do they see trade going?
Well, I think the president wants to use these threats as ways to try to encourage a faster pace in the negotiations on NAFTA and perhaps even China. Just a couple of weeks ago, the House Speaker, Paul Ryan, had said if we didn't get to an agreement on NAFTA by around, I think, May 17th or so, it would be very difficult to get the NAFTA agreement approved by the end of the year. That didn't happen. They didn't get to that agreement. And I think the president's trying to put pressure to try to get all of these efforts moving very quickly.
And you have people in his own party, though, reacting to this. Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah calling this a tax on Americans. Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, a little bit more succinct. He just called it dumb. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, though, you heard earlier, he says it's not going to have much of an impact on the U.S. economy. So who's right here?
I think the Republicans are right. Just for background, for decades, Republicans have been sort of the supporter of the free market, open trade position. Democrats have been much more supportive of tariffs and protectionism. Wilbur Ross is a Democrat. In fact, not only is he a Democrat, he is, in his investments, he used to own steel companies and manage them. So he is a true believer in tariffs and protectionism, and that's one faction of the White House, whereas you've got the other side, Steve Mnuchin and Larry Kudlow, who are much more free trade people. So I think the president's somewhat in the middle here, not ideological either way, but more the pragmatist trying to use the tariffs as a way to get what he thinks is a fair trade deal on several countries. The problem is we don't really know what fair trade means with him.
Well, the Dow Jones doesn't speak with words, it just gyrates, and it dropped 250 points on fears of a trade war. This is something that Trump trumpets, how well the markets are doing under his leadership. Is that going to give him pause, do you think?
Oh, I think it's a very good point because he likes to see the Dow as a proxy for how well he's doing. He was highlighting those in January, not so much in March and April when he started moving with tariffs and the Dow started going sideways. And so I think he recognizes that. And that's why it wouldn't surprise me if we don't hear within a few days something coming out of the White House or the president saying, we're making good progress now, we're coming to some kind of conclusion. We think we'll be able to do something. And just as part of the key of this, Canada, Mexico is talking about moving forward, but they kind of put off the implementation of some of these tariffs till maybe June 20th, maybe July 1st. I think that's intended to sort of give all sides a chance to come to an agreement over the next few weeks, I hope, so that these actual new tariffs don't go into effect.
But Merrill, doesn't he run the risk of being the boy that cried wolf by doing this, or these threats, and then, as you say, kind of backing away from them?
I think that's absolutely right. If this had been March, the Dow might have shifted 500 or 600 points rather than 300. I think increasingly people are looking at this and saying, well, he says these things, but he comes back fairly quickly and adjusts them or moderates them to some extent. And so at some point, when you do these often enough, the Dow and the public begin not to pay as much attention. So I think you're highlighting exactly the right concern.
So there's a risk here, not just of a trade war, but a risk of these words kind of falling flat at some point.
Oh, I think that's right. And most people understand there is a tension going on in the White House. Wilbur Ross really wants to move forward with protectionism and trade and tariffs, and I think another side doesn't. So the president's in the middle on this, and I'm hoping right now he listens more to Larry Kudlow and Steve Mnuchin.
Well, maybe he's listening to you too. We never know. Merrill Matthews joining us from Dallas. Thanks so much.